Hey Uprightians, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, and in this video I want to talk with you about an addiction that I have. And it's an addiction that I think a lot of people have, and that's why I'm making this video. This is an addiction that can cause all kinds of problems in your relationships, in your work life, in your mental health, in your physical body. What is it? It's an addiction to this thing. So in this video we're going to talk about one of the simplest, easiest things you can do that I've done to my phone that can help you break your addiction and get you back into enjoying real life. We all struggle with this problem with these things, right? We're sitting at a dining table and we can't stop looking at this thing even though there's somebody sitting directly across from you that you haven't seen in 5 months, a good friend of yours, and all you want to do is check Facebook. This doesn't require any special technical skill. I'm going to walk you through some simple settings that you can set on your phone so that your phone becomes less addictive. If you're on an iPhone, this will be a super simple walkthrough. If you are on an Android, you're going to need to go get yourself an iPhone, or you can just figure this out on your own on the Android settings. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go into settings, and we're going to go down into general. And then we're going to go down into restrictions, which you can see on my phone are already on. I need to double click in, and then I'm going to not show you my password. We're going to come into restrictions, and this is to disable things on the phone so that you can't use them. So rather than having to use your willpower to stop yourself from using Safari, you can actually disable Safari, right? Now, why would you do that? Well, the reason you would do that is because you spend so much time on your websites reading random pieces of news that don't actually do much to help you, and they just stress you out. Or you might use Safari to go to Reddit, or you might use Safari to go read any number of random hobby sites, news sites, blogs, etc. And by the time you realize it, it's already been an hour and a half, and you kind of hate yourself. So you can get rid of Safari. Now, if you are somebody who has Chrome or Firefox or some other web browser on your phone, you're going to need to also delete those apps so that you can't just go clicking on those, right? So this is to get rid of Safari so you have no browser, and also make sure you delete all your other web browsing apps. Then this is very important for me, is going down to news. That news widget that's on the iPhone screen that you can just kind of get random news updates from. Well, guess what? That's such a huge distraction, and your life is not made better for it, and you get super stressed out reading all kinds of useless crap. So what you can do is just click that little button. So it's green, that means, oh, I could read the news, but if I click it again, it goes to that white, and now I can no longer use that news widget. Yes, that is awesome. Now, I no longer have access to Safari or news, right? If you find that other things are major distractors for you, then you can disable those too. The key here is to figure out what apps really kill and sap all your time. If you go through my phone, you'll actually notice that I don't have Facebook, I don't have Instagram, I don't have a bunch of apps on my phone that normally draw me in. I've tried having them on there and it never worked because I'd keep looking at them and my time would disappear. So, and I'd get super anxious and annoyed and sometimes depressed watching and reading all this stuff. So they're just off. I can't do it. Can't handle it. Now, if you want to get really, really aggressive about this, what you can do is you delete all the apps that you know are causing you problems. And once you've deleted them, then you can go in here and tick installing apps. And what that does is it makes it impossible for you to install those apps again unless you're willing to go through this whole restrictions process. So let's say I'm out and about and I'm like, hey, shoot, I really need to look something up using a web browser. I don't have access to my web browsers because I wiped them all off my phone. Can't do anything to access them. Well, if I really need to, I can go back into my settings, I can go back into restrictions, I can go back into not showing you my password, and then I could go back in and turn Safari back on and then go use it, right? Now I've done that before, and then what happens is I keep using Safari nonstop. You and I have to be really careful about this, right? But it's doable, right? You can use the phone for the things you need if you really need to, right? And if I really needed to install something else, I'd have to come back in here and allow myself to install the apps, right? So that's all the basic setup for making your phone less addictive. And what you're gonna find is actually really fascinating. Once you've got that set up, you're gonna find out just how compulsive your usage of your phone is. It's so interesting to watch, especially in the first 1 to 2 days. You are gonna be reaching for your phone thinking, I'm gonna look that up, and you're gonna realize, oh, I can't look that up. And you're gonna see just how much of your brain energy was being used on the phone all the time before you made that change. Now, for those of you who want a really, really pro move, a move that is going to make sure that you cannot abuse your phone, I'm gonna show you a really interesting trick. Now, if you want to eliminate any possible temptations that you might get for screwing with your restrictions so that you can spend the night on the internet, then this is the insane nuclear option that you can use to really remove any temptation, right? So you're gonna need a friend, or you can be really kamikaze with this. You click enable restrictions, and when you do this, you enter either a random set of numbers that you don't know and won't memorize, or you have a friend set the restrictions code so that only they know the passcode. So let's say you go, well, I want to get on the internet, and you go to the restrictions screen. It's gonna prompt you, and you're not gonna know what 4 numbers to put in there. Only your friend knows, which means you can't go in and try to get around any of your restrictions, which means no temptation, which means you're gonna need to figure out another better way to spend your time. I want to be really clear though, if you use the nuclear option, I would suggest you have a friend or loved one be the holder of the passcode. So if you really do need to disable those restrictions, somebody can do it. Otherwise, you have to reset your entire phone, and that's probably a huge waste of time that you don't want to get into. Now you might be wondering, is this really worth the trouble? Does this really make a difference? My answer is yes. Once you remove the temptation and you remove the ability to even do some of these things on your phone becomes a lot less attractive. You no longer feel like you can stare at it all the time. You no longer feel like taking it to the bathroom is a good idea. It no longer is as enticing because it doesn't have all these cool functions that allow you to get lost all over the internet. So if you struggle with anxiety, you struggle with feeling just like you're stressed out all the time, this is a really key thing that you can do to help reduce the stress that this thing causes. And I just want to add one thing that I didn't even mention because I have made this a rule for a very long time, is I have also made sure I do not have email on my phone, and I have all notifications off as well, so I don't get constantly pinged and dinged and reminded that there's 100,000 things that I could be doing to be productive. There you have it, some simple tricks to help you calm your mind and let your body fully relax with the phone out of sight and out of mind. If you're looking for other ways to help your brain relax or your body feel better, be sure to check out the description box for helpful links. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.